If LeBron went out today and led the league in scoring, but the Lakers didn't win the chip, people would find a reason to make that LeBron's fault. And that's just the reality of how it's covered. So if that's the world we're going to live in, and you're the Lakers and you know it, and you know the way the modern league is perceived, and you know what really matters to everybody involved in it, championship or bust, that's the way we cover everything at this point. So at some point, who cares? Like if LeBron misses all of the winter, if LeBron comes back at the All-Star game, who cares? As long as LeBron is as healthy as he can be. If you look at this roster as a Lakers organization, if you look around at your roster and you say, you know what, in a 7-game series, I think we can compete with anybody, then your only job is to get ready for a 7-game series. Doesn't matter if you get the last spot in the playoffs. Doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the playoffs. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is, can you compete in a 7-game series? And when one of your stars that you need to be able to compete in that 7-game series is older and dirt and played more leagues and more years in the league than anybody, well, now you got to make sure that you do whatever you do. Like, put him in a cryo chamber. I don't care. Just let him freeze until we get to the All-Star game. Who cares? Because nothing that LeBron does in October, November, December, January, none of it will change what anybody has to say or thinks about the player himself. So why not wait until there's actual meaning and weight to it? If it doesn't involve a banner, it doesn't and shouldn't matter to the Lakers. So anything short of that, my God, just rest the guy and make sure that he's ready to play for the playoffs.
Well, if the alternative was happening, if JJ Redick said, yeah, LeBron James has been dealing with some, glute nerve issues. And, we saw him kind of stumble a little bit down the stretch last year, but we're gonna rush him back and make sure that he has a quick ramping up period in October. We would all be saying, what the heck are you talking about? Why are you doing that? Why would you rush a 40-year-old, 23-year veteran in this league who has a very strong argument to be the greatest of all time? And no, we're not doing that today. Okay, we'll save that for a different day. Like, why would you rush him back? Why would you, put him in this, immersive training regimen right now in October when really all, what LeBron is going to do that matters is going to happen 6 months from now, 7 months from now? Like, why would you do that? So I think it's the right move. Again, what happens in the NBA really before 2026, before the new year, frankly, doesn't really matter that much to me, especially when it comes to LeBron. When LeBron isn't going to be the focal point and shouldn't be the focal point of this organization moving forward. It's Luka Doncic. We can have a separate conversation about what Luka Doncic does in December and January, but at this point with LeBron, I'm not worried about it. I know the Lakers' number one priority is winning a championship. But I'll ask you, Fitz, because I have feelings on it. What is LeBron's number one priority at this point?
If it was winning a championship, he wouldn't still be a Laker. He would have opted out of his contract and taken, a mid-level exception, taken basically dirt money. He could have gone out and played essentially for free. It'd be well beneath him. And he goes somewhere where he can win a chip. But if we're being honest, if he does that, then it'll be like, yep, he had to ride somebody's coattails to get himself another championship. Maybe LeBron's number one priority, as I work through this in my brain, I think LeBron's number one priority is just getting to play the game he loves. I don't think he's being disingenuous when he says, this was part of his quote, I'm not worried about contracts, doesn't bother me at all. Super humble to even have a contract still and play the game I love at this part of my career. I think there can be truth to that. Like, what if the thing that LeBron loves is just being LeBron? Like, he just loves his life every day. It loves playing basketball every day. It loves being part of the Lakers every day. It just loves what he does. Like, maybe that can be the main focal point, because I truly believe if it was just about championships, he'd be somewhere else trying to win one this year.
I agree with you. LeBron didn't have to come back to the Lakers this year. I mean, the Lakers don't necessarily have the greatest recent track record of postseason success. If LeBron's number one priority above all else was winning a championship, he could have gone to OKC. He could have gone to Minnesota. He could have gone to much less sexy markets that are in a legitimate championship window. But he didn't. He stayed with the Lakers. I think he likes being in LA. I think he likes being a celebrity and all of the luxuries that are afforded to you in the city of Los Angeles. He spoke on a podcast after the Lakers season ended, and he said, it's not always about winning championships. It's not always just about winning. And I'm like, whoa, that sounds like a much different LeBron than we heard from, maybe just a few years ago, much less a decade ago, much less 2 decades ago. The LeBron that would post all of these off-season workout videos of him doing like the craziest training in the off-season, to where now he's playing golf in the off-season. And that's fine. That's fine if his priorities have shifted. I think your priorities probably should shift by the time that you reach year 23 in your respective career. But let's not kid ourselves on what the number one priority for LeBron is right now.
So, with people seeing his contract statement, some people thought that maybe that's his way of saying this is it. Do we believe that? Like, I don't believe that there's any world where LeBron leaves, not just from LeBron's standpoint, from the league standpoint as well. I believe that the league and the LeBron would probably sit down together and say, how do you want to manage your last season? And I can't imagine deciding that he wants to do that without a farewell tour of some sort. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, I think one of the really incredible things is that we all knew it was the end of Kobe's career. And so you had the chance to pay whatever you could pay to get in the building to watch Kobe one more time. I thought it was a true gift to fans to be very transparent about, hey, this is going to be it. This is your chance to get in the building. Like, I think that's a beautiful thing. I cannot imagine the league and LeBron want his time in the NBA to come to an end without giving him a nationwide farewell tour that will just spark ticket sales in every arena, in every city, with everybody having the chance to see him play one more time.
And that's what he deserves, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what we as sports fans and basketball fans deserve. You brought up the fact that everybody has a very strong feeling about LeBron one way or another. Where I look at it, if you were so anti-LeBron, I'm thinking, why don't you just sit back and enjoy greatness that you get to watch? That LeBron James' 23rd year in the NBA is unprecedented. You can be pro MJ and still sit back and enjoy history that we are watching with LeBron James. Like, we deserve LeBron James, farewell tour. We deserve the opportunity to say, soak it in, because you're not going to get this opportunity again. I would have no problem whatsoever with LeBron James going on a farewell tour. We deserve it. He deserves it for what he's done for this sport.
So I'll give you this hot take. Between the Warriors and the age of that roster, and Steve Kerr, who's entering the last year of his contract that says he'll worry about it after the year, add that with LeBron, I kind of want this entire era of NBA greatness to just come to a beautiful end. Put a bow on it and make it a retirement run for everybody. There's just this moment where I'm not sure we're ever going to pay enough attention to Oklahoma City or Indiana or any of the teams that last year we were forced to, that were young and put together the right way and, grown slow and low and all of these things, but they maybe lack the household name. I don't know that there's room for more household names to the casual NBA fan until that room is created. And that room can't be created when you've still got Steph, Draymond, Kerr, LeBron. Like, I want all these guys to play as long as they want to play, but I just don't think we can get to the next era of the NBA from a conversational standpoint, Caroline, until it's the end of the era that we're witnessing right now. So I want that farewell tour to happen as soon as possible.
I don't. Just because, this is the era of the NBA that I felt like I really grew up on. Like, this era of the NBA is what I really kind of fell in love with. LeBron's been in the league for 23 years. I'm 28 years old. I don't remember a time in the league before LeBron. Same thing with Steph and those Warriors dynasties. Like, those championships were what made me really fall in love with this league and really start investing into this league. But Steph at 39, Draymond's 35? Draymond's got gray in his beard. No disrespect to gray in the beard. Everybody needs some salt and pepper in their life. But Buddy Hield is the youngest in that starting five, and he is 32 years old. That I always say, and one of my favorite quotes in a movie is from The Dark Knight, and it's, you don't live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I don't want to see this iteration of the NBA, whether it's LeBron or Golden State, live so long and be in this league for so long that we witness their demise and their decline. I don't want to be there for that. And it's true, there are so many young stars in this league. Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, what he did last season was truly remarkable, and we don't talk about it nearly as much as we should, because the what is LeBron going to do and what is his future in LA conversation dominates the NBA conversations. We have Anthony Edwards, Victor Wembanyama, the Joker, so many fun young stars, Luka Doncic in this league that maybe it is their time to have their ride in the sun.
I also don't want the end of any era to just get drawn out to the point that it's painful to watch. And one of the hardest things for athletes is
Yeah.
that once you're done, you don't get to continue to do it. I've said for years in music, like it's tough when your favorite band keeps putting out records and they just suck for a while. And look, Golden State, it's not that Golden State's going to suck, but man, I want to be stuck in the mindset of watching Kerr and Curry win 70 plus games and be just this dominant thing that was so beautiful to watch that you stopped everything and every TV in the bar went to it and you just wanted to watch it. I make the Fat Axl Rose comparison often on this show, but there's a reason. Like I want to remember greatness for greatness, not greatness for whatever it looked like at the end. And I've made jokes for years about I'm old enough to remember what chubby Michael Jordan looked like when he was still trying to play for the Wizards, and week in and week out, it just wasn't the same as what we watched during the prime of it. I want to remember Golden State for their dominance. I want to remember Kerr for his greatness. I want to remember them from what they accomplished when they were at their best on the floor. And the longer this thing stretches out, the more I feel like it just becomes a different part of the conversation we have to have about the overall legacy of it. And it just gets tougher for me to watch. I am that person that's watching the Golden State Warriors now, remembering what great Golden State basketball looks like and watching it now and saying, man, this is fine, but it's not what I remember. And I prefer those memories to just sort of sit forever.
Yeah. I mean, we look at this Golden State roster. Many of those are calling it the unction. Love that. So it feels like this. Do you think that this is the last stand for the Warriors? And considering too that Steve Kerr is going into the last year of his contract and they haven't even had discussions, allegedly, reportedly, about an extension, that Steve Kerr said, I don't want to negotiate my contract in the middle of the season, that he's going into this year without an extension in the final year of his contract. Is this iteration of the Golden State Warriors, this roster and Steve Kerr, is this the last stand?
I don't know. I mean, again, I think it's just going to be hard. Golden State will have to decide that they're willing to move on from all of this. And that's just going to be a tough pill to swallow for everybody because it's certainly not going to get bad enough that they have to, and it's not going to get good enough that they can't. And that's just, man, that's a weird place to be in. Like, do we honestly, and KOC says the Spurs should pursue Steve Kerr. I just want to let this chapter end before I start worrying about what the next chapter looks like. I want to see what it looks like for Golden State before we worry about whether or not Wemby and Kerr is a good match made in heaven.
Oh, I want to have that conversation. I hear you. Let them ride off into the sunset. But Steve Kerr to San Antonio, because this iteration of the Warriors feels like it is far, far, far closer to being done than it is being able to run it back. Steve Kerr is one of the best coaches in the NBA. So if you give Steve Kerr this roster that the Spurs have accumulated, a young roster, I mean, maybe we're seeing a new dynasty unfold for Steve Kerr in San Antonio. Yes, I understand that we want to let this chapter go gracefully, but we can't let this chapter go without looking ahead to maybe potentially what's next. And if we could see another dynasty in the NBA coached by Steve Kerr, I'd be here for it. I would 1000% be here for it. And who's saying no? With Steve Kerr as a head coach and then all of the talent that San Antonio has accumulated, who says no?
Mitch Johnson, the current head coach of the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not going to presume it goes so poorly for the Spurs that they're making a head coaching change. And I'm also not going to presume that if they made a head coaching change, it wouldn't be to bring in Becky Hammon over from the WNBA, given her history with the organization as well. I'm not willing to connect those dots. I know people want to,